Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Completionist. Guys, it has been a very long time and I'm very happy to be back. So, my apologies in advance for taking so long to get a video out on my channel, but a lot of things have changed in my life over the last 10 months. So, besides the topic that's already in the bottom of the video, I just wanted to give you guys an update of, what's been going on in my life. Well, first of all, I'm currently not working in Alberta anymore. My Alberta journey is officially finished because March of last year, my wife and I have successfully paid off the mortgage for our house, and that was the pretty much the plan that when the mortgage of this house was going to be paid for, then there was no reason for me to work out in Alberta anymore. Now, I did go back to Alberta in April of 2023 because I didn't have a job lined up in Newfoundland at that time. But I only pretty much worked out in Alberta for about a month. And then on May the 4th, go figure, May the 4th be with you, was my last day with the company that I was working out in Alberta because I had an offer to work for a company in my home province. And I've pretty much been home in my home province ever since May of 2023. And it's been a big adjustment, guys, like getting used to being home on a full-time basis. I'm still doing the same work that I did out west. It is more environmental based, and the job has been going really well. I'm with a really great team of people, and I've been enjoying the time that I have spent with this company. And it's just a matter of just trying to get some semblance of normalcy back in my life. To be honest, even though I've been home for about 10 months, it still feels strange to me. It feels strange that that I'm home on a full-time basis. I'm still enjoying my hobbies. I'm still playing. I'm still completing video games. I'm still enjoying horror films, anime, and just making up for lost time. And even though I've been with this new company for a little less than a year, things have been really busy, especially over the summer and the fall season. And guys, that's where my priorities lie. I still want to be proficient at my job. My gaming is still my hobby, and it's always going to be a hobby. I literally have no desire to pursue gaming as any kind of a career now that I have a lot more financial freedom, especially now with the mortgage paid off. I might have the ability to take a few more risks, but that's not my style. It's never been my style. I like my work. I like working in the construction industry. I like doing materials testing. I like doing environmental work. And for me, I never want to make my hobbies a job. And because basically is when you treat your hobbies like a job, you might end up hating your hobby. And I use my hobbies as an escape from my job. But I'm happy to be back, guys. I'm fully recharged. Things are still relatively slow over the winter. Things aren't really busy in my line of work just because there's a lot of snow on the ground and, a lot of things are frozen. But now that I'm back making content again, I would like to try to get a video made, once a month if possible. And, technically, guys, I could have made videos, a couple of months ago, but I'm sure, as a lot of you guys are aware of the drama that was happening with the popular completionists on YouTube, I didn't think it was a good time for me to be making content at that time. Please don't ask me about it. It's not what this channel is ever about. I've always separated myself and kind of did my own thing, and a lot of my friends that have been watching this channel for a long time refer to me as the OG completionist, and I take that acceptance, with a badge of honor. And in the grand scheme of things, guys, my opinion on that doesn't really matter. And I really don't want to share my opinions about it. I really have to thank my really good YouTuber friend Smash JT for keeping me in the loop of everything that's been happening. But I think at the height of everything happening with regards to that drama, it was just best for me to just stay quiet and not say anything at all. So this is pretty much going to be the last time I'll ever talk about it. So please don't ask me about it. I just rather just focus on me and what I can bring to the table, and hopefully make content that you guys will enjoy. So obviously, as you see around me, brand new point of view, brand new setup. My wife, who's really the YouTube expert and the computer expert, we ended up buying a brand new computer for ourselves, brand new, microphone, audio gear, webcam, lights, all that good stuff. So she's slowly teaching me how to use it. So for the most part, a lot of my content, guys, will be we'll just be me and talking in front of the webcam on a variety of topics. I already have a couple of ideas, of the type of content I want to make for my channel, but it's going to be nothing fancy, guys. For anyone that's watched my channel for a long time, you guys know how it goes. So I try to keep things relatively basic. And even though I tend to ramble for like 20 or 30 minutes, I do thank you guys for actually listening to my ramblings, from time to time. So anyway, guys, let's get to the topic at hand. And from the title of the video, the first thing that I'm going to talk about is keeping a promise to my wife, and that promise is playing through Star Ocean: The Second Story for the very first time. Now, this game is a very important game to my wife, but for me, it's always been a game that has been incredibly intimidating to me, especially as a video game completionist, because this game has a lot of notoriety behind it, because there are a lot of things to do, and it was one of those PlayStation 1 titles that got released in 1999 that just some of the completionist requirements were literally insane. And it was a game that I really didn't want to pick up and play just because of how hard it was to actually complete the game. Because at the time of its release, Star Ocean: The Second Story, had like over 80 endings. It had a sound picture that you had to fill out. It had you had to play it at least twice to do each character's playthrough, the Claude playthrough and Arena playthrough. And it had the notoriety that it had one of the hardest JRPG final boss battles of all time. And for anyone that's played that game, we all know, it's Indalecio or Gabriel, whichever version of Star Ocean: The Second Story that you have played, and actually trying to defeat him with his limiter off. So this is the original game right here, and this is my wife's original copy that she bought it when it first got released. And this is a game that she keeps very well protected, because she's got a lot of positive memories with regards to this game. We keep it in our little PlayStation 1 box, wrapped up in paper towel, and it literally looks like it just came out of the store. And she has a lot of fondness for this title. But for me, and how I got to experience it for the first time, because I really had no excuse not to play it, is last year, just before Christmas, we ended up picking Star Ocean: The Second Story R for the PS5. And this is really the definitive version to actually play, guys, because the quality of life improvements that Gem Drops did on this, you're basically taking a game that is literally known as the absolute best entry in the Star Ocean in the Star Ocean series, and you just made it that much better. So this was the version of the game that I actually played, and I played this, over the Christmas holidays, because my wife literally told me that I had no excuse to play it now because the PS5 was already readily hooked up. This is probably the most accommodating version of the Star Ocean the second story game. So I literally had no excuse to actually pick up and play it, and that's exactly what I did. Now my wife, on the other hand, she's played both versions of Star Ocean: The Second Story. She's played the original PS1 version and the PSP versions, Second Evolution, when this got released in 2009. Now, the funny thing with the Second Evolution version is this was the version of the game that my wife played, in which she decided to beat Gabriel with his limiter off. She decided to not necessarily do a full completionist run, but she really wanted to beat one of the hardest JRPG bosses at that time, like the good old-fashioned way. Because when she originally beat the original game, she actually beat Gabriel, or Indalecio as he's known in this version, with his limiter on. And out of all the JRPGs that she's ever played, even with his limiter on, that was probably one of the most difficult boss fights that she ever faced. She used to tell me stories of how she tried at least 14 to 15 times, to actually beat him. And she didn't even realize that you could level up to level 255. When she played the game, she thought you could only level cap at level 99, like a lot of other JRPGs. So when she realized that, you can go over level 99, that just completely blew her away. And then when she found out shortly afterwards that the final boss of Star Ocean: The Second Story actually has a more difficult form, then she actually decided to do it on this version. And even though it took a lot of practice, of her going through the Cave of Trials or Cave of Tribulations, or whatever it's called, the bonus dungeon in the game, she actually managed to do it. And died quite a few times doing it, but she actually managed to do it, and she felt pretty proud of herself afterwards. And I watched her on her journey with this game, not necessarily the original Star Ocean game, because she had bought that and played it when we weren't together. But this entry, I did watch her play because she was enthralled. She wanted to see the opening animation and the new artwork when this game had its revitalizations. Its first revitalization there in 2009. So basically, I had known about the game. I knew all the, not necessarily horrible things, but I knew the kind of reputation that it had, and the fact that it had such overdone completionist standards. It was just a game that I just kept ignoring and ignoring and ignoring, and just kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, because I knew it was going to be a tough game to complete, especially their bare bones versions. But now, when this entry came out, then they made this entry a lot more accommodating to fans who want to get into this game, because the quality of life improvements that they actually made with this game are really well done. Like, everything's been pretty much revamped. I wouldn't necessarily call it, a full-on remake, because it still keeps like the core things out of the PlayStation original, but like the world map is redone, and the music's been redone, with an updated with an updated musical track, where they take the existing songs and just give a fresh spin to them. But a lot of the things that make this game really accommodating is that you don't have to worry about filling out a sound picture anymore. We have fast travel in this game. There's a whole bunch of other mini games in this game as well, such as fishing, that I spent quite a bit of time doing. Like there's extra hard boss fights that, you really should, you'll come across them as you're traversing the world map, but you really shouldn't do them until you get into the post-game content. And also, it also tells you when you can do private actions in certain towns. so that it's very hard for you to miss the timing on certain events, especially when it comes to recruiting characters. So for anyone who wants to play this game for the first time, this would probably be the best version to do it. When it comes to all the skills, like there's actually question marks. There's actually lists to show you which things you haven't obtained yet when it comes to obtaining weapons and armor and alchemy stones and food and items and all that good stuff. So it's not like a lot of the earlier versions where like everything's a gambit and you don't really know what you're going to make. And in this one, you can literally make 10 items at a time. So it speeds up that process. When it comes to trying to get some really excellent gear for your characters. So when I actually played this game, guys, like my wife did not want to play this game because she already got as much as she wanted to get out of playing Star Ocean: The Second Story on both the PlayStation 1 and the PSP. So she wanted to watch me play it so that she could experience all the new things that this game had to offer while getting to watch me experience this game for the first time. And for the most part, guys, I really enjoyed it. To be honest, this is how you do a PlayStation 1 JRPG remake, especially if you want to revitalize a certain game. And it's something I would love to see Gem Drops do for other Enix titles. Can you imagine if they did this, for like Dragon Warrior 7 or if they did it, for Valkyrie Profile or any of the other Enix titles that that got released for the PlayStation 1. What they did with this game is absolutely beautiful. And even though I set the difficulty to Galaxy mode, which is normal mode. I think Universe mode is the hardest mode. I still had a tough time in certain sections of the game. I did die. Throughout the game at certain points. There's no random encounters. In the PlayStation 5 or Switch or PS4 version of this game. You have blobs in both the world map and the dungeons, so you can choose. If you want to fight enemies or if you just want to blast through the dungeon. But I think one of the biggest things I really appreciate about this game, guys, is that. If you're not trying to complete it, this game is the perfect JRPG length. You can beat this game in 25 to 40 hours. And that's the perfect JRPG length, guys. Like, especially nowadays, a lot of JRPGs have a lot of padding, a lot of side quest padding that can normally take a 40 to 50 hour game into a 100 and 120 hour game. But, if you just want to beat this game, just 25 to 40 hours is all it is. So currently for me, when everything was said and done, I'm not done with this game yet. I did do a lot in it. I started this game on the Claude playthrough. I haven't done the Arena playthrough yet. But as of right now, the Claude playthrough is pretty much done with regards to, getting all the items and weapon and armor. I've already done all the post-game content. I did beat Gabriel with both his limiter on and limiter off. I got the characters all max level to 255. The only thing I'm really working on this game currently right now is I'm just trying to get as many endings as I can on the Claude playthrough. And you do get more endings in this version of the game compared to the PS1 and the PSP version. I currently have 11 out of 99 endings so far. So I'm just working on getting my intimacy levels up with certain characters. So they can pair up during the epilogue of the game in which we get to see the ending for each and every characters. But I really enjoyed my time with the game. I didn't find much of the game a struggle. Some of the floors, in the Cave of Trials, definitely had its share of intense moments. Trying to fight the Iseria Queen. That was incredibly tough. I died quite a few times, trying to fight her and just trying to max level and do things along those lines. And the best thing about this game is that, you can use you can listen to the remastered soundtrack, or you can actually listen to the original soundtrack. And, for me, thinking that the PS1 generation has the best JRPGs of all time, I actually do prefer the original PS1 soundtrack over the actual remastered soundtrack, but that's just a matter of personal preference. But as I was playing it, and as my wife was watching it, especially when I fought against Gabriel for the first time with his limiter off, one thing that she did notice is that she was kind of shocked that even though I was just slightly above level 100, I actually ended up beating Gabriel, my first time, and that didn't seem right. And and my wife just watching how Gabriel moved and his attacks and stuff like that, and I can kind of agree with her after actually watching her, fight Gabriel in both the PS1 and the PSP versions. Gabriel's difficulty seems a little dumbed down, just to make the fight easier, for new players, because I really didn't have much problem with it. But when it came to fighting Gabriel with his limiter off, I had to use the kind of like cheat method. You get this armor called Bloody Armor that constantly zaps life out of the character that the armor is equipped with, and it drops your life really quickly, but you take no damage. So basically, I had to put that on Claude, allow the rest of my characters to die, and then just kept going full tilt against him, while my life was quickly whittling away, and then I'd use one of those potions that would constantly refill your life to max, and just kind of rinse and repeat. So that's kind of how I cheated the final hard boss of the game, as well as the really hard bonus fights in the arena. But overall, I'm glad that I actually had a chance to play it, and I'm glad that I managed to keep my promise to my wife of actually experiencing the game for the first time. I'm sure if I had played the original like she did when it got released in 1999, I probably would have had just as much difficulty trying to beat it and try to complete it as what she did. But actively right now, guys, I do dabble back into Star Ocean: The Second Story R, from time to time, just to get another few endings. And once I get all the endings that I can get with Claude and the party that I ended up grabbing in this one, then I'll be doing the arena playthrough and getting the rest of the items and the private actions and stuff with her. And in case anyone's wondering who was my team on my first playthrough with Claude, it was Claude, Rena, Celine, Ashton, Chisato, Leon, Prisus, and who else am I missing? I didn't get. Yeah. I think that was it. I didn't get Opera. I didn't get Bowman or the other guy on Energy Need. Oh wait, yeah, Welch. That's right. So that was my party that I ended up getting in the first playthrough. So on Rena's playthrough, obviously it'll be Rena and Claude, and obviously DS, but I'll be getting Opera, her boyfriend, and Bowman, and the other guy, I guess the zookeeper, on Energy Need, and then whatever other character you can get on the arena playthrough. But personally, guys, I got my enjoyment out of it. I'm really looking forward to playing it, and and also, guys, if you're interested, the entire Star Ocean anime that was released in the early 2000s called Star Ocean EX is actually available on YouTube. So I'll provide the link for it down in the description below. If you haven't seen it, please check it out. It's actually one of the better video game to anime adaptations. But the only issue is, guys, the anime only covers the first half of the game on the first planet. Like the anime does not touch on energy need at all, which is kind of a big tease and kind of a letdown, because it tells a really good story, and it actually stays pretty faithful to the game for the most part. It's actually one of the better, as I said before, one of the better video game to anime adaptations. So at the end of the day, guys, I'm really glad I got to play it. I still think Rena's theme in the game is one of the most beautiful pieces of video game music I've ever listened to. But I'm glad I finally gave it a try, and it should have never taken me this long to play what's often considered one of the best Star Ocean entries. And one of the other things I really want to say about the game is that it does have a new voice cast, and there's actually some really good English voice acting talent behind it. You actually got Richard Epcar, from Robotech and Macross Plus and Ghost in the Shell as the voice of Gabriel. So that was actually pretty awesome to hear. And there's lots of nods, to the original game, guys. If you go into the status screen, you can actually look up each character's different artwork, because their artwork is different. Well, their character portrait is different, from the PlayStation 1 version, the PSP version, and to this version on the PS4, PS5, and Switch. So anyway, guys, that is my experience with Star Ocean: The Second Story R. It's the second Star Ocean game that I've played. The first Star Ocean game that I've actually beaten, and I do look forward to playing more entries in the Star Ocean series when I have the free time to do so. So the gem drops. I certainly hope video game companies give you more PS1 or even PS2 RPGs so that you can add your spin to it, because what you did was an incredibly beautiful piece of art and a great way to revitalize a great game. And I still think the 10 Wise Men are an awesome group of villains. And hopefully in the next 6 months to a year, I'll actually buy the Star Ocean, the Second Story R limited edition. I didn't even know that they offered it on the Square Enix store, even though it's highly overpriced if I go on eBay or anything like that. But that's really not much of an obstacle, for me to buy it, because it actually comes with the remastered soundtrack, and it comes with beautiful little pixel artwork figures of each of the heroes and each of the 10 Wise Men. So I'm certainly going to get that, to add to our collection. So anyway, guys, that takes care of another episode of The Completionist from a brand new point of view. So anyway, guys, as I said before, I'm truly sorry it's taken me so long, to get some content out there. But now that I got this video out, hopefully I can get a video up every couple of weeks, or minimum at least once a month. So anyway, I'm going to provide a link. I do have a Instagram account, but if you want to join, by all means, go for it, but you're under no obligation. And listen, guys, my thoughts on YouTube are always going to stay the same. This is not a career for me. I have no interest in making any kind of money. And the best gift that you guys can give me is your time, because you can't get that back. So, as always, guys, take care, and I wish you nothing but the best. Later.